Anyways,
Patricia,
so
you got
so
something.
yes, I do. I have a bone to pick with the United States citizens from the mainland, which are not Hispanic. So, a Puerto Rican named Humberto Marchant, and his name is not even Perez or something. I mean,
His name is not what?
his last name is Marchand. It's not even like a Spanish name, but whatever.
Merchant?
Humberto Marchand, Marchand. I don't know. Maybe that's Humberto Marchand traveled from Puerto Rico to New Orleans last week. Um, and presented his Puerto Rican driver's license, valid Puerto Rican driver's license at the airport at the Hertz stand, and he already prepaid his car, and actually, he is a gold member with Hertz.
Which means he
He's
uses them frequently.
right for he said maybe like over 20 years.
Wow.
And the girl at the counter was requiring a passport because she saw the Puerto Rican driver's license, and and he's also a retired federal employee and for the United States. I mean, I don't know if I have
Wow.
to clarify, but according to this,
You do. Yeah.
this story, it has to be clarified. So he's an ex-federal employee for the United States. And so she wanted the employee wanted a passport because she said, he's coming from Puerto Rico and he's trying to explain to her that
Puerto Rico is
he's
part of the
Puerto Rican,
United
he's a US
States.
citizen, he didn't come from like international. And she's like, no. And he got out his phone and he was recording because he wanted to, I guess file a complaint or whatever. And he kept saying, listen, I paid for my car, I'm a gold member, blah blah blah. And she's like, no, I'm gonna call the police if you don't leave. And he's like, call the police, because he was confident that the police officer was going to know that a Puerto Rican driver's license is a valid US driver's license. You would think that at some point in police school, they would talk about states. I don't know. Maybe
We learned this way before police school.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe,
This is
if,
like
if
junior
this was
high
a
school.
state trooper, I don't know. So this police officer from Louisiana comes in, and they just released the body camera footage, and he's the Umberto guy is very calm and talking very, because he doesn't want to be confrontational, or he doesn't want things to escalate. And right off the bat, the police officer is like, what's the problem? And he's trying to explain, and he's like, I don't care about that, because he was saying, I'm a ex-federal employee. He's like, I don't care about that. I don't care. What does that have to do with me? And he's like, I'm trying to, let you know. So anyways, at the end of the day, he's telling him that he has a valid Puerto Rican driver's license. He's a gold member, da 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 da. He's like, no, you need to leave. And he's like, their policy, because the police officer is like, the policy for international, whatever. And he's like, I am from Puerto Rico. I have a Puerto Rican driver's license. And he was requested to leave the Hertz, and he's like, well, I prepaid. He's like, you need to leave, and if you don't leave, I'm gonna call immigration.
I would have been like, call them, because somebody at immigration got to know better than this, right?
My thing to me is, because in the video you can see that it's not like a counter at the airport was just one person working. It was like an office with different employees there. So you mean to tell me that not one person in the Hertz counter in the New Orleans International Airport knows that if you have a Puerto Rican driver's license, is like having a Floridian driver's license, California driver's license? Like, we don't know this information?
Apparently not, because even the police showed up and didn't know any fucking better.
I mean, I guess Louisiana, New Orleans is...
No, I don't think it just stops there. There are a lot of ignorant fucking people that don't think. I think a lot of it is racially motivated, because the fact that he speaks Spanish, why would you threaten him to call immigration just straight out of the gate like that? Like,
Yeah.
It's only because he
There,
was
there
a
have been
Hispanic man.
Puerto Ricans detained for not having papers, during Trump's immigration thing or whatever. This isn't anything new, right? If you're
Right.
if you don't know, uh, if you're from Puerto Rico, you don't need any of that stuff to move around the United States. Um, it's pretty simple to understand. Um, and even when someone tells you that at a counter, I think at the very least, why don't you pick up the phone, call your manager, look at some policy somewhere.
That's what I'm saying.
Try.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Even if the original, like the employee that he was dealing with, if she's like, no, no, no. I mean, there has to be someone. If
Well, I
when it
would.
gets to the point, when it gets to the point that a police officer is called, I'm sure somebody else was involved from the Hertz before it gets to the police officer.
No, I wouldn't. Not necessarily. It would have been up to that desk agent to either reach out to another coworker for assistance or to just call the fucking police.
But in the
Like,
video, you can tell that they're all in behind the counter.
but they can
So
hear.
yeah. It's not like it's like an office, and there's other employees too. So not nobody from in there thought of maybe Googling or even looking at your own manual or whatnot. But that did not stop there. In California, a family was traveling from California to Puerto Rico and this all happened last week, from California to Puerto Rico, through Spirit Airlines. And the kid did not have a passport, and they were telling her that they needed passports for international flight. And the family, they're explaining this is not an international flight. We're flying to Puerto Rico, and we are U.S. citizens. We're born U.S. citizens. And they're like, no, you need a passport. And they didn't let them get in the
Fucking
airplane.
crazy.
And
Puerto
they went
Rico
to
is a commonwealth of the United States. If you're born over there, you are considered a citizen of this country. I mean, what is so fucking hard?
listen.
Furthermore, you can book a flight to Puerto Rico like you can book a flight to New York,
Right.
Don't book
and
a
it
flight to Puerto
requires the
Rico.
same document, a
Don't book a
valid
flight to Puerto
picture
Rico.
ID.
For these people, don't book a flight to Puerto Rico. Just stay over there.
Unbelievable.
But like, as I
and
read
these
these
people,
stories,
these other motherfuckers that are voting too. These stupid
yeah.
ass fucking ignorant people. Sorry.
What was I gonna say? Being Puerto Rican myself and living in the United States, I have been asked all kind of crazy questions about Puerto Rico, like, what kind of money do we use? And I'm like, oh, let me I have some in my pocket right now.
You should have said pesos.
No.
No, I'm like, I actually have some money in my pocket right now. And when I show them the, dollar bill, they're like, oh, yeah, we use the dollar. I have been asked if we only ride horses in Puerto Rico.
What?
I have been asked, I swear on my children, I'm not making this up. I have been asked if we only have horses in Puerto Rico. Like, we don't have cars, and granted, this was like when I was younger, but still, I have been asked.
That's
Mhm.
unbelievable.
It just shows a lack of education when it comes to our schools, and the
that goes
ignorance that continues to permeate, just everywhere. Like, they look at us as, okay, you're Hispanic, you're not part of the United States, you're not,
Because they equate. You know how many times I've been asked, "Oh, are you Mexican? Mexican, Mexican?" Like,
there's no
like,
difference to them.
like, American people really think that the only people that speak Spanish are Mexicans.
Yeah, I've heard people say stuff like that.
I mean, this ties right back into one of the bills, SB 266, banning colleges and universities from spending funds on activities that advocate for diversity and inclusion. And it's this, they just don't want to learn about anything other than themselves, and then they grow up and do ignorant shit like this.
And even the stuff they learn about themselves is inaccurate. It's some Candyland fantasy, of our forefathers and how this country was built. It isn't even accurate. Yeah, this troubles me. Obviously, you and I were Puerto Rican, and I hate to hear this kind of shit, but it really doesn't surprise me. Hertz did
Not at
issue an
all.
apology.
Well, if I was,
And they issued an apology, but this guy
nah.
should be suing the
Oh
shit
yeah, no, they owe
out of
me
Oh,
him.
more than enough.
he's going after the police officer.
Oh yeah, and the
The
police, yeah, for sure.
they're going because he's like, at least he should know the law.
I'm getting more than an apology from Hertz.
And
Especially,
of
I've been a
course,
customer for
yeah.
20 years.
He's a gold member. He said in that when he was like, I'm constantly traveling and to be a gold member for years. I have never had this problem. And she was so arrogant too. She was like, I need you to go out about your business. And if I were him, I would have been like, I need you to go back to school, elementary. But I was talking to some friends about this story that are American, like white Americans, and they're like, when I was growing up, we never learned anything about Puerto Rico.
That's bullshit.
That's what?
Bullshit.
That's what they are.
Bullshit.
It's not bullshit.
That's
They
bullshit.
don't really teach about Puerto Rico.
You don't learn the history of Puerto Rico, but you do learn that it's a Commonwealth of the United States. You do learn that they are part of our government.
You learn that, yeah, sure.
Okay, so that's all the fuck you need to know.
Just because they throw it in the textbook and mention it, one time when
In
you're in fifth
passing.
grade, doesn't mean
Yeah.
right. It's in passing. It's not something drilled in your head.
Yeah.
It's not something, even when they talk about Puerto Rico in the news or anything, or Puerto Ricans, they do talk about us like we're some other entity.
Second
Like, you know what?
class
You
citizen.
work for a
Yeah.
airline.
You should know this. If you work for a rental car business, it should be.
I
Yeah.
mean, I would even listen because I'm a generous person and understanding and almost at the level of like holiness. If this was a situation, yeah, please make sure. If this was a situation that happened, I don't know, in South Dakota, I would kind of understand like how many Puerto Rican people do you see in South Dakota? This is in California, okay? This is in California. You're gonna tell me that no one in come on now. I don't know.
Well, they only probably used to interacting with Mexicans, honestly. I don't know.
True.
That's the whole point. They looked at this guy. Oh, your name is what? And you coming from where? Oh,
Yeah.
you need a passport.
Well, no, that
In
was
fact-
the family. That was
No,
the family leaving
the
California
family was
trying to
from
go to
California.
Puerto Rico.
No,
Go
yeah,
to Puerto
yeah,
Rico.
and that's even crazier if you think about it. So yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like, so they're probably like, oh, another, Rosa Sanchez. Oh, she must be a Mexican.
yeah.
Was the
oh,
family
well.
even Hispanic?
Yeah, they're Puerto Rican.
They were.
Mm.
I think that's some shit.
And fucking same.
I don't know why this stuff never happens to me.
2023.
God protects me.
I wonder how you would react to like if you were the person at the Hertz. Like, I wonder how that would fly.
Yo,
Well-
You
I
would
would
definitely film it, right? You would definitely have the understanding to record it, right?
So I had an incident traveling from the Miami airport, from the Turkish Airlines counter at Miami International Airport. We were coming to obviously Turkey. And even though the Turkish Airlines, they're not Turkish people. So the manager, whatever, whoever, they were Cuban. But my husband was talking to, when we were registering, I wasn't talking or anything. I was with the kids in the back or whatever. And anyway, so make a long story short, there was an issue with something. What is the issue? It was Isma. Isma was the issue. And we almost could not fly because there was something. And Damien, there was something going on. There was something going on. And my kids, they have a Turkish citizenship, right? And they're like, oh no, she cannot fly. I don't remember what they were saying that she couldn't fly. And we're like, no, she can fly and she has a Turkish ID. She has a Turkish, yeah. She didn't have, I think, her passport, or it was something, but we were trying to use the Turkish side of it. And they were like, no, because the country's not going to let them in. And my husband's like, trust me, they will get in. They will get in. They have the citizenship. And the guy was so rude. And he started talking in Spanish to, I guess, the manager or whatever. And he was like really talking shit about my husband, saying, "Oh, he thinks da da da." And I got in and I said to him, and I said, "Listen, I know what you're saying. Don't get it confused because he's Turkish, but I'm not Turkish. And I know what you're saying. You cannot hold us here." I got so loud. I was so angry, but I never thought about recording. But I did. And I said, "No one can tell us that we cannot go. She is a citizen of Turkey. You don't even know what the airport over there will say. You don't know anything about their immigration laws." And they ended up letting her go. But that's the only incident that I've had, and it was a Cuban guy. So, come mierda.
All right. What we got next?
That just fired me up. I was so angry.
Clearly.
I'm like, I am not gonna miss these trips because you have it up your ass that you're saying you don't even know what Turkey is going to say. And my husband's like, if she is able to pass, because obviously we have to go through Turkish Airlines, like the actual the Turkish team that flies with us. And if they don't let us in, obviously the country probably won't let us in. But even then, they're like, no, you will go. Then if you cannot get into the country, that's your fault. And my husband's like, no, I'll take the chance because we're gonna go. They didn't even look at her ID. Yeah. And then he's like, I don't recognize his ID. Do you know all the IDs from all over the world? That's exactly what I told him. I said, do you know all of the IDs of all over the world?
200 plus countries.
Yeah. And I said, but you should know the Turkish ID because you do work for Turkish Airlines.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah. But anyways.
You should have asked him if he could identify the different 50 state IDs. We don't even have one ID. We have 50 IDs for this one country.
51.
Oh, Puerto Rico. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Oh man. I did it.
Oh, did you used to work at Hertz?
No. Why you ask me that? You
just said 50 IDs instead of 51. You forgot the Puerto Rican ID.
Oh, you were making it funny.
Yes.
That was like a Julian joke. Yeah.
Dane, you got the worst sense of humor in this whole podcast. I want to have you know that.
Okay. All right. Oh, noted.
Dane delivers jokes like notes and shit.
I don't tell jokes because I'm the worst joke teller. That's a fucking fact. But that doesn't speak to my sense of humor.
Well,
your jokes.
Whose jokes? Oh, Julian's?
Yeah.
My jokes are good. What are you talking about?
They're not even recognizable.
I had you balling with my
the chicken
feather.
One.
Yeah.
That was.
Oh my God.
It wasn't so much. It wasn't so much the joke. It was the demonstration. It was.
For me, it was me
performance.
Googling bestiality in Turkey. Like this guy is trying to get me killed, arrested, taking my children away.
That shit has been so ingrained into my head. I have a customer who has chickens, and he's telling us that his chickens are disappearing.
Oh no, it's Julian.
And I started laughing because I'm thinking about your story, and this guy's telling me his chickens are just vanishing.